in the gym? Are you running? Took a break? Or at
You
home?
could say a small break before I start the season in 2023. Uh, I'm gonna begin with jumping gorilla. That's a short run, 25 kilometers, and then thanks to you, you gave me the opportunity to be in Mumbai and face the 2-hour bus. So that's in
Yeah.
schedule for Jan, and I'm yet to build a calendar for 2023.
Uh, Can you
So
can I request you to come a little closer because your face is kind of a little distant.
it,
Yeah. Okay.
it's
Awesome.
better.
So, in fact, you took my question very seriously. I was just asking what you're doing right now. Were you in
Okay,
between
right
your?
now, yeah, just in my room, chilling, just finished my work, and I was just waiting when we go live. Was very excited. This is my first, I think, Insta live, and
Wow,
yeah,
wow,
so
that's
excited to share a lot of stuff with people, budding runners, people who want to get into running, and also talk about how you can balance work and other passion that you may come across. So something
okay.
on those lines, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So first time Instagram live with me. I'm really privileged. I'm really happy to have you on board because I always find you as a very kind of active, smiling, forthcoming, and everywhere I see you running everywhere. And I see you in Bison Ultra, and I saw in Uti. Then I see you going to some Indonesia somewhere. Then I see in Malnad Ultra. You're still smiling. That's really nice of you to kind of bring that kind of a demeanor into this entire relationship and the conversation. So this is a lovely business. Now, can you tell us a little more about where you are really from? Are you really from Bangalore, or are you from some other place?
Okay. So my origins are from Kolhapur, Maharashtra,
Okay.
and I was born and raised in Goa. And I started working in Bangalore and running in Bangalore. So that's how people know that I'm from Bangalore. But my origins, or you could say I'm based out of Goa. I always say I'm from Goa. That gets
Okay.
people excited. So yeah,
So Kolhapur to Goa to Bangalore now.
yes. And now to each and every corner of the country and hopefully of the globe. Yeah.
Okay. And so what's your profession? So we know that Tonetag. You can also talk about Tonetag a little bit and tell us what exactly do you do in Tonetag? So you've got a distinguished position there as a vice president.
Correct. So I work as a delivery manager, you could say, and Tonetag is a innovative company which works on sound technology for transferring data over sound, and we our expertise is into payments field. So we use sound to make payments, as simple as that. Yeah. And it's been over 5 years. I think, yeah, I'm going to complete 5 years, and it's been a good journey. And since it was a startup, I had the privilege of kind of organizing the chaos when it comes to delivery to clients. You know that what I'm talking about. So you've been there, and and that's my major role in this company. So
Okay.
I engage with national as well as international clients, and we deliver our products to clients, and yeah, take it ahead from there.
Okay, brilliant. So you're into delivery, so there is something common. Yet another thing that we share in common because I'd spend significant amount of my life in delivering projects, but now I'm in the. Of course, it's also delivering a project. The ultra running events are also like a complex project. So you can imagine a lot of moving parts, and then
Correct.
there is chaos certainly. I
Exactly.
can
Yeah.
relate to that. But I think if you're in India, if you've been in Bangalore, you appreciate the chaos, and then there's some beauty in this chaos, right? So that all of us can kind of create. But
Correct.
that's really love to know. Now, tell me one thing. So, during your childhood days, teenage years, were you into sports? Were you active? So, what exactly? Where is the starting point for all these things?
Yeah, I was a face in at the sports events in school. I did participate in whatever kind of sport that came up. I was very keen on trying it. I've been there, done that kind of stuff. I want to be there and try it out. It's not that I choose and I do that. I just want to get my hands dirty, see how it feels, and if it's feeling good, then just hang on to it and see how it goes from there. So yes, I was active into running or football or cricket or badminton or swimming. Yes, I did my part when in during my childhood, and yes, then I think it was college when I picked up fitness, getting into weight training. Back then, maybe 2 decades ago, there was not much of a knowledge transfer that was done on weight training or strengthening. We didn't even have the jargons of weight training and strengthening. It was just going to the gym, see the weights, and pump up, right? So that's how the fitness journey started as well. And since then, I think a decade up, I've finished, I think, almost a decade now for running. Uh, I picked up running when I wanted to join a team in IBM for the runners group, and it so happened that I could not qualify for the team, and they
Come
wanted a runner who
on.
could run. Yeah, exactly. That was my reaction. All right, so they wanted someone who could run 10K in under 50 minutes, and I could not do it. Right, so that really hit me, and I was like, I've been working out in the gym for like over a decade, for 10 years, and I cannot run 10K in 50 minutes. And I did not get selected, but then I worked on that, and I actually picked up running slowly because it also helped me tone myself. Instead of bulking up and looking much shorter, I would rather, tone it up. And I ended up running TCS 10K, I think, in 45 minutes. And the next year, I'm up there in IBM selecting runners for the
Star
team. I
runner.
said,
Okay.
"Wow,
Okay.
this is good." So again, there I had the
Yeah,
journey.
yeah, so that brings a very interesting point, right? So when we always say that there are these moments in our life where we find ourselves to be rejected because of, let's say, merit. There was a merit set here, so 50 minutes and you didn't qualify. But those are also those little turning points in our life, right? So it's nothing wrong in having a merit and standards. When we don't qualify, but if that hits you hard, but I think that can turn our life from,
Correct,
let's say,
correct.
somebody who was not even tried, who couldn't do, versus somebody who can try and pursue and also achieve something. I think that shows something about the character of a person.
Yep.
Now, another thing that I'm able to relate is that if you really see people who are the gym rats, so people go and spend a lot of time in the gym, build a lot of, because that's a sport by itself, right? So uh, during my childhood times, or even if you just look around Bangalore, multiple gyms where you see a muscular person, six packs with, greased body, oiled body, shining everything. And that seemed to have been the inspiration. I used to fall victim for this kind of a trap, right? This six-pack trap. But then when you really understand the sports, understand the connection between sports and wellness, and then having a functional body is much more needed than a six-pack body, or well-defined body where you can show your flex your biceps and triceps and quads. And so having these two is really important. Having a functional body is really important. A healthy body is
Correct,
really important.
correct.
And of course, as a bonus, if you have a well-defined body, if you're also an endurance runner, so this combination is a very rare combination, right? When you go out in any ultra marathon event, you will generally find ultra runners are slightly bulkier than the actual fast marathon runners, not skinnier runners, because especially if you're into mountain running, you will have a little more defined quads and a little more muscular. But if you see a lot of runners with skinny body, or you will see skinny, strong legs with upper body is not defined. They've got a
Correct.
tummy, and most ultra runners, you also come across, they can go miles and miles after, but they don't have a well-defined upper body, right?
Correct.
So now, how are you able to balance? Okay, when I see you, I can see a lot of discipline in your body. Your well-defined body, a good combination of balance of muscle, and because ultra running is also a sport where people end up losing and wasting muscle because nutrition plays a very, very vital role, because hours and hours of running in the
Correct.
endurance and then you don't eat properly. How are you able to balance these two things? Are you doing all these things consciously, or it is just like that happening?
Yeah, yes, it's a long story, but I'll just kind of, shorten up for you. Maybe I should start from the time when I decided to debut my marathon. Okay. And I had graduated from 5K to 10K to a half marathon to a 30K. And then I started thinking of, okay, let's go for 42. So in that process, after working out for like 10 years and building all the muscles, I did see the kind of weight I was losing and which I did not like. So my first go-to was, okay, I need to have those muscles, even if I'm not running. My pace is not that great on the route, but I should be, standing out of the crowd, so in a way, right? So it was back then, and that's how I tried to balance my workouts with the running. I do not prefer running mileages over the weekdays. I only do it when there's an event coming by. Otherwise, I'll stick to long runs on the weekends, right? So I do concentrate on weight training as well as strength training that has come in the picture now because of ultra running. Okay. But when I wanted to debut for a marathon, that is when the injury happened, and I had a disc bulge in my back. Okay, and 2 months just before the marathon debut, this happened, and I was kind of taken aback. What to do since I have this injury? Should I go for the marathon? Not go for the marathon? And I did go ahead with the marathon. It was my debut marathon. It was in Dubai, and I ended up, freezing at 37th kilometer. I just could not move, right? So the doctors had advised, if you look at something like this happening, just stop and just retire from the run. But I tried to push myself, and maybe I took 40 minutes for a kilometer, and then I wouldn't say it's a miracle. I don't know what happened. Everything just unlocked, and I could just run the last 5 kilometers with no pain, nothing. So that is when I understand the power of will. If you have the will, you can do it. But at the same time, you should also graduate to a certain extent where you can draw that line, okay, where you can take the calculated risk and go ahead. Now, okay, marathon happened, and then I had to take a break of a year's time to again graduate from 5, 10, 21, 30, and then a marathon. So this time, the weight training and the strength training went, in parallel because I could not run because of my injury. But I focused more because I learned from my injury that the strength training plays the most important part. But at the same time, if I can retain the bulk, I had to find that balance where I can still hit the gym, do the weights, retain the muscles, and still strengthen the muscles which can help me run that longer distance. So that's how this learning happened from, I would say, from the injury. And my focus since then was to mark a schedule which would help me in weight training, strength training, mobility, and endurance, right? So everything has to go package. It wasn't an easy job, but I tried my level best, and today I'm able to deliver those runs.
Okay.
So I have a 6-day schedule in a week's time. I mandatory have a 1 day rest period, wherein I'm lazy like crazy. Okay, you could say that. I just don't move a muscle on that day. But the rest of the days, I'd work out all my muscle parts, do yoga as well, 2 sessions of yoga, add like 10 to 15 minutes of yoga, end of the, weight training and strength training, weekend long runs, and definitely on Sundays, maybe go for a short run again or again hit the gym and try and build rapport with running groups, get some motivation. It's just not me giving motivation. I need motivation as well. So yeah, we kind of interact socially and see how we can take it from there. So yeah, a disciplined way of executing all what I say Yeah, it takes a while, and once you get going, I think there's no turning back. In addition to that, it's also important on what you eat. You just can't start eating haywire and expect that not to affect your body. It does in the long run. It may not help you, or maybe you may not see the effects in a short period of time, but in the long run, if you're eating healthy, it will give you that return of interest. Like it's just like mutual funds. Yeah.
Okay. So you appear to be somebody who is an ideal subject outcome of all the research studies there, because when you really look into research and evidence-based approaches for training for ultra marathons, everybody knocks their head and says that okay, you must do strength training. Two reasons, right? One is, of course, you're going to get a marginal, let's say more than two reasons, but I'm going to highlight two or three of them. One is, of course, we need a healthy body, so that means a good balance of muscle and fat, and the lean mass is something that all of us need that, right? And then muscles keep us stronger, the joints are stable, and then we can do more work. The capacity to doing work is much, much better, right? And then, of course, as far as ultra running is concerned, it's a very, very repetitive sport, and then a lot of runners who get injured because the joints and the tissues are not strong enough. Okay, so the ligaments and the tendons are not strong enough to hold the stresses, and so they basically end up injuring. So that's why ultra runners or runners, marathon runners, strength training is vital to injury prevention. Okay, and then the third thing is, of course, we also like to have a good balance function of muscles, right? So that when you do strength training, you are basically working on certain muscles, because endurance runners, they get strength training. When you run, you're basically strengthening your legs, to an extent. When you go up and down in mountains, you're strengthening, but not to an extent. Not all the muscles are in. It's more like a small set of, let's say, a part of your body is functioning, but the rest of the body is not functioning. So that's why including that strength training is really, really vital, right? So if you really see some of the world-class athletes, they are always having a balance between strength training, conditioning, running, recovery, sleep, nutrition. That becomes a complete package by itself, which is really glad to know that you're adopting a lifestyle which has got all these ingredients. You're not just kind of running, or you're not just doing strength training, but you also bring in. You also mentioned about yoga, which is for the mind and relaxation, right? So it's really amazing to see you're putting all these things together. So now you started running 10 years back. That's what you said. And then what is that one race which is the most memorable? I know you're going to say OOTYULTRA, but let's take OOTYULTRA from that equation. Or Bison Ultra. So what is that? I'm not going to be disappointed if you don't tell these two names, because you already acknowledged. What are those? What is that one race which is like stands apart, right? So for your overall experience, and also tell us why you feel like that.
Yes. So I would definitely rate Solang Sky Ultra, the 100K. That was my first ever 100K in Solang, which covers like 5 peaks, right? And the cutoff time was 32 hours. And I did it in 32 hours, 3 minutes. Okay. So I had a lot of learning there, because it's a day-night run. And the kind of willpower and that you need, it's just not your strength training, like you mentioned yoga, right? You have to get into that trance zone where there's no looking back, and you can keep on moving, keep on, one step after another. And especially in the night when you're running alone, okay? A few things that I learned there was like, don't wait for any runners to tag along. That kind of, costed me a lot of time to cover that distance. And when you're fatigued, and you might have a conscious level of mind, but you end up losing your way. Okay, even that can happen. So how to feed your body to make sure you're always alert in the nighttime as well as in the peak, wee hours in the morning. So I even sat for a while. I think that's the first time I sat in my runs in so long. I try not to sit if it's not a checkpoint or it's not a aid station. But I think after the third peak, I did sit for a while and try to understand what is happening with my body because everything, it was very cold there, okay, and everything like zoned out, and I was in two minds whether to continue or not continue. I was not tired, but I was bogged down with the repetitive action of just climbing and climbing and climbing, and there's nothing happening. I'm not reaching anywhere, and I still have like another 15 hours to go. I was like, what should I be doing? And and that's when I decided, let's see, let's try and push as much as I can. I just wanted to extend my boundaries because I had goals. Like 100K was just not one goal. I did want. I had that passion building inside me. Okay, up to 100K, let's do a 100 miler later down the line. So that kept me pushing. I think the passion of making bigger. Again, not crossing that line where you know that there's a risk involved. You can push back and then come back again. So yeah, that race, and when I got lost and calling the organizers on the route, there were route markings right there, but I just could not follow because I had a mind, I was fatigued like crazy. And again, the fatigue training comes into picture here, right? So you need to run even when you're tired, and that's how you can train for ultra runs. Can you run with your fatigue body? Can you concentrate with your fatigue body? So that's again the yoga thing comes into picture. If you meditate for a while, I do meditation mostly on the runs when it's a longer run. I talk to myself. I even problem solve things when I'm running. So all that things happen. So I think when I'm doing any other ultra today, and if I am not coming across any kind of painstaking moment, I would always think of Solang Sky Ultra. I would say, how painful was that?
Yeah.
And can I do this? Then yes, I can do it, right? How much more can I run? I have 32 hours in me. I can do that, Now that consistency, I need to see how much longer can I go with that, And that's how I think I need to schedule the calendar as well to make sure I, nudge only the highly rated runs or the bigger motives, I would say. We did speak about it in Malnar as well, that, I got to, though I'm training, but let's not push yourself in every other run. Take it easy and just aim at the major ones where you want to, kind of do your best. So, yeah, so long Sky Ultra, the hell race it is, yeah.
Okay. Now, I know Vishwas puts together some really amazing events, and
Yes,
Solang is certainly a most challenging ones, right? So one of the most challenging runs, and especially anything that's happening in the Himalayan region is such a beautiful experience. And I think your personal experience that you narrated is so important for the running community to realize, especially those who are very new to marathon, ultra marathon running.
exactly.
Because I, as a runner, as an ultra runner, also as an event organizer, I've seen two different sides of story. Right, one is me missing my goals and kind of missing. I've not had this experience of kind of missing a cutoff by a few seconds, but I've missed my race by kind of running only halfway through because of an injury. Then I had to kind of give up, right? And especially in the Comrades Marathon way back 2014, the first one, so ambitious about training, and then I ended up overtraining. So I had some stress injury. I had to bail out. But that feeling, that what you're narrating, and I can relate to that. And then the most important thing is accepting the outcome, right? Most of the time, you see that runners do have a goal when they at the start line, everything is fantastic, right? So it's like before the exam starts, without seeing the question paper, so everything is fine. You've done your job, you've done your training, or maybe you have some jitteries about, okay, what's going to come first time. But accepting the outcome is something that I have learned. Most important thing, which you already defined as your own experience, right? So at the start line, saying that, having that little conversation, So for me, that 10 seconds is really gold, right? When the countdown clock is going like 10, 9, that's the time I kind of reset all my thoughts and I said, okay, whatever happened behind me, that's not going to define what's going to happen today, but it's going to influence what's going to happen today. What's more important is putting the reset and accepting the outcome, whatever the outcome I'm going to accept, but I'm going to flow through the process of every single step and then enjoy the race experience, right?
Okay.
I think that's a very important discovery that I have made, and that's exactly what I also talk whenever I talk to my clients and I talk about this experience. It's so magical, right? And then the other end of the spectrum, that's the start line and the finish line, and you don't finish within the cutoff, it doesn't mean that it's a failure, right? So that's the most amazing thing that I've learned as an ultra runner, and I'm sure you would appreciate that. You've had this 32.3, I see that when I wrote your profile, I saw that Solang Sky Ultra 32.3, so I knew that it was out of the cutoff. And so the accepting, as a race director, I've had different experience. People walking into the finish line, I'm giving the medal well within the cutoff. And in the first edition of OOTYULTRA, there's one runner refused to take the medal. And then I said, why? No. Actually, I bailed out certain distance, probably about 45, 50 kilometer, but I had to come to the finish line in a bike and I'm not going to accept this. Such a beautiful moment, right? It's like anybody can cheat, in a course like OOTYULTRA where there's 60 kilometer long. It's not that everybody is watching everybody. If you want to cheat, you can cheat, right? And he didn't take the medal, and I was so humble, right? And I said, okay, thank you very much. That shows the sportsmanship. At the same time, you also had another runner taking a bike ride, taking medals, celebrating, putting in their Facebook, saying that, okay, I've achieved 60K. When you actually go and examine the Strava records, we found that 5 kilometers, the last 10K, you remember, the 10K is a climb. So this man was going in 220, 230 kind of pace for 5 kilometers. So that's clearly a bike ride, right? So this also happens. At the same time, you also see some of the runners who are heartbroken because they missed the cutoff by 1 second, 2 seconds. They're coming and pleading and requesting, oh, okay, can I get the medal? But I think it's a very difficult scenario. The takeaway here is there is a rule for the race. There is a cutoff. There is a reason for that. Okay? One is as an organizer, you need to wind up. You need to go home. Right? You can't just wait for all the runners to. Even though if I have a lot of time and I would like to wait and bring everybody home. But it doesn't happen. The second thing is there has to be some challenge somewhere, right? There has to be a cutoff, there has to be an end, and I'm sure with the experience of that 32.3 coming back and converting you into a more positive person, I think that experience is so beautiful. And thanks for sharing that experience. I think that's really important. So now you've done the OOTYULTRA, you've done the Bison Ultra. These are the two events which I organized. So what is the most likable thing in these two events? Did you enjoy something? You can talk about it because now we have started the campaign for OOTYULTRA 2023. It's going to be the 6th edition. And I'm super thrilled to say that the number of registrations so far, it's double the number of registration that I usually see at this time of the year. Okay. Yeah, it's also quite stressful because I need to deliver a good event. As a race organizer, it is an exciting thing to see. So now we are, the momentum has already started. So we are in the month of January. We've got about less than actually 86 days to go for the event. So what is that let's say the unique things that you saw in OOTYULTRA?
Okay, let me first begin that, when I registered for OOTYULTRA last year, I did it for 90K. And then I saw 90K in 12 hours. I like, hang on. No, I got to.
I thought you forgot about this. Okay, all right, let's talk about it.
So then I could have pushed myself, but then, like I said, I had 111 Ultra coming up, and I didn't want to risk that back then, right? So that's why I think I just thought, okay, 60K is a humble target which can be done. and definitely 90K 12 hours is a tight, check that you have put in place. I think which could be attempted now since I have like a free mind and this is the goal now. I have a bigger goal. So yes, definitely, it will be a training ground for me as well. And I last year when I was there, I did like the ambience, the arrangements that were done there, especially when the start and the finish points are different, and you could still manage and kind of work the crowd out, which was good and definitely challenging because it was so hot then. And I remember taking shower at every station that I could possibly do. And yeah,
Oh, that
so
was
it's
you
been
then, because we
challenging.
ran out of water in multiple aid stations. That was you who took shower at the aid stations.
You could blame me for that. Yeah, and I did push a couple of runners in my group to kind of go ahead and participate in, at least try the 30K. They did come, the run machines of Sutra did come to OT Ultra, and this year also they're trying to make it to 60K since they did 30K last year. And that's how I felt I should, let these guys also experience, how beautiful this run is. And since we also tend to organize runs, we just maybe you set an example for us to see, okay, how things are done here and there, and how to manage the crowd, how to do the bib collection or the trophy, blah blah blah. And yeah, that's a learning curve for us as well. And if, in future, if we look for organizing such events, we could definitely, work on those lines. Bison Ultra and OT Ultra, two different things. Bison is trail, OT is mostly road, I believe. Yes, it is. And, yeah, Bison was, again, a trail, which was, I love trails, I would say. I think they train us more, trail routes train us more when it comes to strength training compared to road, is what I feel from my experience. Yeah, again, it was hot, but it was never ending because you said it was 50 and it was never 50 there. And I
Yeah,
lost my route because there was no arrow at the last 5 or 4 kilometers which were left, and
yeah, that's
I would,
that's on straight road, right? So it's kind of
yeah, yeah.
mentally decision.
I
Do
did.
I do I get another trail or do I continue to?
If I tell you, I want to apologize to the volunteers who were at the station, and I came back running, and I was like, "Where is the arrow? Come!" I took him with me, and then he said, "Okay, this is not the arrow. It has to go up."
That's it. You're
So I said,
supposed to look for
"Okay."
the smiley. You're supposed to look for the smiley on the road.
Yeah, that smiley came in later,
Yeah,
way later. All right.
yeah.
So then, yeah, then we kind of managed, and yeah, thanks to me, then you were up, kind of ended up putting the arrow that the other runners could follow the arrow, and they reached the finish line. Yeah. So two different experience. Trail definitely. It is. I think for Bangalore, if you look at trail running, apart from Nandi, if you had to go someplace, I think Yerkard would be the place to go and experience. Just not the trail, but it's the entire experience that you can have. So yes, looking. I think we do not have anything more than 15 Yerkard. Are you trying to introduce something there?
I, I wish, yes, I want to, but right now, because see, the Bison has an exclusive run, right? So I deliberately kept the number of participants to small, manageable, and at the same time, now the experience that you go through is very, very unique. Because usually when you go to a running event, for example, Ooty, you can like it's going to be 1,000 runners this year, right? And then this camaraderie is only with a little known people, say hello to them, but there's no interaction beyond, say a hi, hello, because you're not staying in the same hotel. Your expo is happening in some place, you're staying somewhere else. Your mind is completely tuned for the race day, and then there's not much of interaction that's happening, right? So I want to break that. I want to break that, right? So that's the reason why it's that Bison Ultra is going to be an exclusive run. It's going to have only so the first two editions, I had only 40 to 45 runners. And
Okay.
then the last edition, I kind of scaled it up again, and then we had close to about 75. But this year, again, 130. It's going to be a larger group, 130 runners. Already the registration started, and then it is going to be exciting. So now
Nice.
coming back to what you have done, and then you also went to recently you did one run at the UTMB Thailand. It's
Yeah.
a 100-kilometer trail run, and then you've done within 24, 25 hours, if I'm right. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that experience of, going, probably, was this your first run outside the country?
Yes, it was, and it so happened that my fellow runners, Roshan and Kirit, I run with them most of the runs. They said, okay, what's left in India to do? And they were good researchers on the runs happening across the globe as well. And UTMB, we did follow Ganesh, who did UTMB, and I was not aware of how this event was, scaled. And that's when the knowledge transfer happened from my fellow runners, and since it was almost half year up, and we wanted to look forward towards runs, or else I would have ended up in Solang again. And that's how, okay, just for the experience, we signed up for the run. There was no such goal. I said, let's see how things are outside India. And UTMB, I could only see how huge or at what scale this event is organized is when I was there at the expo, right? It was overwhelming, and I could see the culture that is, growing up there, or even the running culture. You could see people and just keep on looking at them, right? They carry that aura of, being a runner around them. When you see those, you get so inspired, and, you just want to start running the moment you see them, right? So, and the terrain there was difficult. It was quite steep, just not the climb, but the decline distance as well. And again, this was a day-night run for me. It started 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and then I think I ended around 4 or 4-ish or 3-ish, 3:30-ish, yeah. So again, here the biggest problem I had was, I think, with the food. And since we were eating left, right, center, all kinds of food, new place, let's try this, let's try that, and we couldn't get that the patent dal chawal, which we always crave for before the you know
Dal
race
chawal
day.
in Thailand? Okay.
Yeah, so so the day before I ended up throwing up, and I had a very bad headache, and I could not consume anything. I was just throwing up the moment I had it, and I think 4 hours just before I could get up and get ready for the run, I had a 4-hour nap. Before that, I tried eating, but I could not. I had some sweets. I ate those, just went back to sleep, and then I said, let's see what happens on the race day. And when I started, I had my usual muesli, which I have the meal before the run. And then when I began running, I did feel the weakness, and because there was no food in the system, and I was waiting for every checkpoint to feed myself. And early morning, I could not eat much because that's not the time, you feed much. But then on subsequent checkpoints, I started eating stuff, but again ended up throwing up. So again, it was to go in the system and then get out of the system. I was eating, and after a while, I was sitting right there and puking everything out. And I'm sorry for all the runners out there who could see they were eating as well. And I'm like, okay, can't help it. I'm tired. This has to happen. This has to get out of the system. It's not allowing me. So I could not eat much, and it was then only water. I tried oranges as well, and water, electrolyte, and orange is what I, kind of, ran with and consumed all the way. And I did hope that, there would be a moment which, just like it happened in Dubai, like, okay, everything is fine and I'll run fine, I can eat fine, but that never happened. And I was ready to kind of, take that, call, make that call. Okay, let's stop. This cannot be done. My body needs food, and I cannot feed it, and I do not have the strength. I think I might not have the strength, or I might just be weak. And again, it was like a lone survivor there, right? You're running in the trail in the night, you're alone. Initially, I thought since there were so many runners, you could have runners around you and all that stuff, but no, in the night, you are alone again. You might just find someone running, but you lose company in no time. So, yeah, so that moment did arrive where I thought I should just stop and, let go. But again, I thought, let's push whatever I can. I was like, 100 meters, let's see what happens. Then again, 100 meters, let's see what happens. Then again, like one step, what happens? Two step, what happens? So I was able to push. And again, the strength training must have helped. I did. So water, electrolytes, oranges is all I had. I pushed myself. I did reach the finish line. I was in tears. I spoke to one of my dear ones. I just cracked up. She cracked up, I believe. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was difficult. I would say, it wasn't easy and it wasn't the way I wanted to finish. So that is one learning apart from, the ambience that I was in. It was difficult, I would say. I do not want to finish runs like that. I want to be comfortable. Injury free, yes, but this was the first time which throwing up, yeah. So I wrote about it.
It's beautiful. I think I also read about your experiences. You've been a regular blogger.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see your captioning. You seem to be very emotionally attached to the sport and the events and the experiences that you go through. It is so crazy, right? It's crazy, chaotic. There's nothing like a perfect race. Even if you wish for it, say that, okay, next time I'm not going to participate in a race unless it is a perfect one. No, there's never going to be a race which is perfect, but you have to make it perfect. On that moment, you have to make it perfect, because if your system is not accepting food, what are you going to do? You need to have plan A, plan B, plan C, or keep trying everything. Or you can be a quitter, you just sit there and wait for the dawn to come and then somebody to come and bail you out. Is all possibility, right? So what is going to define you as that's the most amazing thing about these kind of endurance events, right? So basically it defines the character in you, and then what you want to be, what you are really, what you want to be. I think that's the most amazing thing about it. That's the reason why I so passionate about ultra running, and also talking to people like you can come and tell stories like this, right? It's very, very, very involving and very impressive to see how this can transform us into a better person, shape you into a better person. Right? Now, how does these journey, this experience, how is it affecting your professional life, in your company, in your business setup? So what is that one or two takeaways that you can talk about, because I know a lot of people, especially who are very professionally successful, so they have challenges in terms of balancing the time. And I come across some of my clients, they always say that, okay, I have meetings and I have projects. I'm not able to find time for my exercise. I'm not even able to find time to eat proper nutrition. So we also hear people talking like that. And we also see, on the other hand, people like you who are quite successful in the professional life. At the same time, you're able to balance your passion in terms of running and fitness, and seem to be enjoying the whole experience. What's that takeaway for those people who are sitting in the fence, not sure what to do? What would you like to tell them? Especially those who are very busy in their life, really busy or pretending to be busy in the professional life, at work and business and all those things, and struggling to find time. What is the message for them?
Yes, so first is patience. You will get there, okay? Be it your work or running, I think you got to be really patient to, cultivate that kind of discipline, and also to set those processes, just not with your professional life, but also your personal life. There has to be a process, and a properly managed process can get you there, right? So, and when you've done these ultra runs, the number of problems that you have come across, and you are out there alone. You have to solve each and every problem alone there. There's nobody coming to you, especially in the trail run. No one coming as quick you would want them to come to you, right? So that kind of, I would say, experience allows you to be patient at work, also be that problem solver, right? It's always a problem that comes up, and you have to be patient and look for solutions, right? And that kind of thinking, if you can cultivate in yourself and also have an impact on your peers, okay, nothing like it. I think a lot of people come to me and do ask, do say, okay, you inspire me. You working out, you retaining muscles, you're also doing short distances, you're able to run faster, you're doing endurance runs, ultra runs, and you're still the same. We do not see any kind of change in you. So yeah, patience definitely. You got to be process oriented. Discipline comes into you. If you look at ultra runs, when we pack our drop bag, that even we know when to wear what or when to eat what. These drop bags are only at certain stations, right? And you have to plan the entire race to make sure what you have to eat at each checkpoint and how you're going to use the drop bags at each checkpoint, right? So that's again a process. That's again a well laid mind map, you could say. So when I'm working, even when I'm running, I think I tend to solve problems. If I have anything leftovers from my work, when I'm running, I can work on it, and I think I get out with a solution even when I'm running.
Thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's your thinking.
if you can, yeah, that's your thinking power you develop. Yeah, today if there's any problem, I wouldn't say it cannot be solved. It can be solved, right? And since I'm a technical guy, it is either 0 or 1 for me. It's never in between, right? So either you finish or you don't finish. Yeah, so that's how it's been. That's the most, I think, able to solve problems, is the biggest takeaway from being an ultra runner. Yeah.
Can anybody be a better runner if they are a good project manager?
Yes, they can if they can manage and
That's
deliver.
one of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you are the one. Yeah.
No, I think it's not project manager as a title, right? I think project
Yes. Yes.
management is it's too much heavy topic to bring in here. I think managing issues, planning, understanding what are the risks involved, understanding the dynamics of what kind of resources you're going to use, and having a plan and foreseeing what is going to happen. And then
Correct.
the important thing is pacing the plan right. So you have a plan, you're training for a certain outcome, and then on the race day, you basically try to achieve those outcomes slightly above or below that and accept it. And that's tolerance, right? Because many times the moment you see that people are training at a particular intensity, the race is at a different intensity, they've just kind of suddenly decided that, okay, I'm going to chase my personal best because of various reasons, or somebody else is running and I'm going to run faster than. I think all those things are not going to work, right? Because it's your whatever we have spoken now, it's all the beautiful journey shared by you, Yuvraj. It's so close to your heart. That's something that you've experienced. Even though we all are listening to those experiences, feeling that, being part of that experience, only you know the better.
Correct. Correct.
And my experience, and I think that's the most amazing thing that can happen. That's why I always tell that, okay, it doesn't matter who you are, run at least one ultra marathon in your life. Okay. It's not, again, running, those who are listening, and I don't want them to be confused about the fact that running means running. Most of the ultras are done with a combination of walking and running. Okay. Even the fastest runners also in some of the mountain races, you can see them walking, right? In some
Yeah.
sections, you run really fast, at the same time walking included. So moving continuously is the key, and then seeing the finish line, and then that journey from the start to finish is something that it's so beautiful, and you can actually pen it down, right? We almost come to the fag end of this conversation. I hate to say, okay, we need to end here. Yuvaraj, you're going to run the 90K at OOTYULTRA. You know 60, that's why I was chatting in the group of other runners. So I'm pretty happy to say that we've got about 10 runners signed up for the 90K already. Okay, so
Wow.
they still have time. And I hope all those guys are going to, kind of still polishing their shoes and washing their socks. Oh, okay, let me do the registration. Right? So that's how it happens. So what does you know 60% of the 60 out of 90, you already know what that course is. Okay, so the last 30K you're going to be doing in the clockwise direction. So what are you going to do differently? Are you going to maintain a same pacing strategy? Are you going to be slower than that? So what exactly are your thoughts about how you're going to approach the 90K this year?
Yes, definitely not as faster as 60, but also keeping in mind the 12-hour cutoff. I'll have to see how I run the pace. I'm yet to develop the strategy. I'll definitely pull up my 60K Strava link and see how the pace went through. And because I remember when I was finishing 60K, I did see, the 90K runners heading back to the last loop, right? And back then I was like, I'm sorry, I'm happy that I'm not registered for 90K. Like, and I was praising them, and I never thought I would come back for 90K, but then that itch of taking the next challenge, it does what it does to ultrarunners. You know that better, yeah. So you want the next challenge and push yourself and see how you can pace yourself. So definitely use whatever energy I have in the 90K duration. I wouldn't mind ending up at 11:59.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter as long as I'm able to finish it in the cutoff. Uh, I would want to, this time I did have a few of my colleagues or friends advising me to kind of work on strength training. So I think I'm going to do that. And like I said, this is going to be till April. It's not much of ultra running. It's shorter runs. My These months will be my training grounds. Do not kind of exhaust yourself before the bigger event, and that's what I'm going to concentrate on. So yeah, strength training and some more of nutrition, which could help me keep myself comfortable during the run. Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Awesome. Yuvraj, it was wonderful chatting with you, and I'm happy to have you back running the 90K. And I'm sure all your strategies work really well. And you did a 7:39 60K, which is like a quite safe time for you to finish another 30K in about 4 hours and 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But it looks that easy. But you know better how things can go wrong, right? Because this is, even if you consider 95% effort, you still need to have some more juice if you want to complete that. It's going to be challenging. So OOTYULTRA 6th edition is going to be on the 2nd of April, Sunday. This year, a couple of changes. The start point is going to be at the Ooty Boathouse. So the Tamil Nadu Tourism has come on board as a partner. And then I'm also pretty happy to say that Footstrong has come on board as an associate sponsor.
Nice.
So even the expo is going to happen at the Tamil Nadu Tourism Hotel. So those who are coming there to experience the beauty of Nilgiris, you will see the boathouse, you will see the botanical garden, just brush it through that place, then the Dodapeta Peak, and then the tea park, and then bonus all the coffee, all the tea plantations, and the beautiful villages that you will see when you're running. Okay.
Nice.
So thank you so much, Yuvraj. Wish you all the best for all your running endurance and also business endeavors. Where can find people? I know Muzzle on the Run is one of the kind of. Okay, I see that. Muzzle on the Run. I like that Insta name. And then so you also have another one, Yuvaraj P0707. The not.
So I'll take a minute to talk on Muscle on the Run. Okay, I created that exclusive handle during the COVID phase, and when I could not connect with my fellow runners, and I wanted to kind of publish the exclusive events I go to, and again the travel and run concept that came into picture, where you can travel to different locations and do the running and experience the different trails. So you could train much better when you are targeting events across the country, right? So I started blogging because again, you could not meet people and chat and all, group runs were happening during the COVID phase. I started writing so that I could share my experience at each location, and also wanted to kind of put down my journey so that people can cultivate that culture of graduating from level 1 to level 10 and just not jumping from level 1 to level 5 and then 10. No, you got to go each level 1, 2, 3,
States.
4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, right?
Yeah.
So I would be happy, if people are doing that rather than ending up in an injury and then you lose a year and a half or 6 months and then coming back. So I think that is the kind of knowledge, or I would say, okay, if you do not know what to do, just seek for guidance, right? We are here. I'm writing the blogs to actually help you to read and understand what it takes to kind of to do such tasks. So ping me whenever you feel like. There are people who ping me asking for blogs, asking for experience. I do that. I'm happy that people are reading it. So I think if you are lost somewhere and if you want to graduate your levels, seek for guidance, be it nutrition, strengthening, yoga, whatever way that helps you create the entire package. Just go for it. Ping anybody, get mentored. Nothing like it. It will help you in longer, run.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well said, Yuvaraj. We graduate in stages, right? So there are no shortcuts. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
beautiful to conclude this discussion. So this is truly an Ultramalaivasi moment. When we talk about when you met a person and then the surrounding, you see the runners, you see an aura there. That's what my mind, it's the Ultramalaivasi experience, right? So wherever you go, because the Malaivasi, the mountain dwellers, are the simpletons, right? So they used to be there. Of course, all those things have changed due to modernization, but I wish to have a life like that. And I'm happy to connect people with people like you, and also more and more runners like this. We'll bring more runners to have this conversation in the
Right.
coming years, coming months, coming weeks. And also all the best for everything that you do, Yuvraj, and thank you so much for your time. Okay.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys, I'm signing off till
Yeah.
we meet the next Ultra Malaivasi moment and chat live session with another inspiring person. I've got a few people lined up.
Okay.
Hopefully, we'll make the announcement in the next few days. Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Yuvraj. You have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right.
You have a
Thanks,
nice.
listeners
Bye.
and viewers. See you. Ta-ta.
Thank you.
Radha, you're
Yeah.
joining as we are winding down. Okay. So this video will be shared